But first, a Talking Points memo helping the folks who keep us safe. Tonight we have a major announcement, and that is a new GI Bill is needed in the country. And we will work hard to make that happen this year. The Factor has partnered up with Senator John Kerry in the Senate and Congressman Peter King in the House to forward legislation that will reward our fighting men and women when they leave the service. Just this week, the foreign minister of Germany announced that his country would not grant America's request to send more troops to southern Afghanistan to fight the Taliban. Germany and many other NATO countries are pretty much sitting out the war on terror, letting the USA carry the fight. Talking Points believes that Europe in general is weak and afraid of the Islamic killers. Certainly Spain and Italy are frightened. France under Sarkozy is manning up, but under Chirac did very little to fight terror. China and Russia actually help worldwide terror by aiding Iran, and many other countries simply do nothing. So it is left to America to defeat these monsters. And we're doing a pretty good job of it. Al-Qaeda is isolated in Pakistan, and the Taliban gets pounded in every engagement. But the sacrifice for the U.S. military is immense. These brave people are risking death, away from home, sometimes for years, and forced to obey rules of engagement that put their lives in even more danger. Back here in the USA, people like Michael Moore call the presence of American forces in Iraq evil. A dishonest media trumps up stories about returning soldiers killing people. Hollywood pinheads make movies disrespecting the armed forces. Enough is enough. It's long past time to expand the GI Bill, to give vets more health, education, and housing benefits. That is the right thing to do and would help recruiting, which the country desperately needs. Again, our military is fighting terrorism pretty much alone in a callous, cowardly world. Far-left loons may minimize the war on terror, but sane people do not. Just this week, captured video of young Muslim fanatics training to kill people surfaced in Iraq. Another reminder that jihadists remain a deadly threat. So let's look out for the folks who are looking out for us, the military. Talking Points believes Congress will pass and President Bush will sign a new GI Bill. And we'll do everything we can to make that happen. And that is the memo. Unresolved problem segment tonight, as we told you in the Talking Points memo, the Factor is allying itself with Congressman Peter King and Senator John Kerry to get a new GI Bill passed, which would expand benefits for people who are sacrificing greatly to protect us. I spoke with Senator Kerry earlier today on the Radio Factor.
The big fighting point will be money, Bill. I mean, the fact is that the Congress raised the VA budget last year by $2.7 billion over what the administration put in.
Right.
I believe the VA budget ought to be made permanent. It ought to be fully funded. But
so what we're going to do is that you and King and Webb and everybody, you're going to sit down and then we'll handle, we being the Factor, any kind of opposition.
For that.
Well, this is the first time ever that a media operation has partnered up with lawmakers to try to get something done in Washington. As stated, the Factor's role is simply oversight, to keep you informed as to how the new GI Bill is progressing and to monitor any opposition to it. Joining us now from Boston, Fox News military analyst Colonel David Hunt, and from Capitol Hill, the aforementioned Congressman Peter King. So I just want to make everybody clear that this has been in motion. The new GI Bill has been in motion for a while, and both you and Senator Kerry, Congressman, have been working on it. I'm not going to micro this. I don't even offer any suggestions to you guys about what should be in it, because I'm just not smart enough to know that. But I want it. I think the American people want it. It has to be done. And tell us where you are in the process.
First of all, Bill, I agree with you completely. The GI Bill of Rights has to be brought into the 21st century, whether someone opposes the war or supports it. I happen to support it. I've been to Iraq, been to Afghanistan. These men and women are doing a phenomenal job. And I have to say also Senator Webb and Congressman Scott from Virginia, I've also been working on this. But I've worked with John Kerry's office. What we have to do is provide greater education benefits for returning GIs. We have to provide job training, housing. We have to also, I believe, provide parity for National Guardsmen and reservists who are activated and serve in combat.
Okay.
I have a particular.
Well, you guys will all get together, and I'm sure you'll work out a bill that is fair and balanced. And we don't want any pork in it. We don't want any bridges in it or any of that, just the military. Where is it in the process, though? I'm going to bring you guys back once a month until it gets passed. Where are we now?
The bill is being drafted. Obviously, I'll be coordinating with Senator Kerry. Our officers have been talking. I would say it'll probably be ready to be introduced by the end of this month. And the reason I'm saying that, we're talking about really a massive overhaul. This bill will run to probably more than 200 pages because it involves so much as far as education, as far as job training.
Absolutely. So you think by the end of this month it's going to be ready? Good work.
I think we should have it ready by the end of the month.
And you can work with Kerry, right? I mean, he's on the other side, but you have to have bipartisan, particularly because the Democrats control the House and Senate.
Bill, this should not be a partisan issue in any way. I'll be happy to work with John Kerry,
Good.
Senator Webb, Congressman Scott, anyone. This is important, especially someone like John Kerry, who is a decorated war veteran.
All right. Now, Colonel, you work with the veterans, and, you know, what do they need, in your opinion?
Well, first of all, congratulations. I mean, to you and the congressmen and the senators, it's about damn time. I mean, this is the first time it's been done. I think it's the only way it could get done is with this kind of power between yourself and the politicians. They need some serious medical help. Congress is right. Parity, that means the same amount of money to National Guardsmen and active duty. We need a lot more psychological and head trauma issues. We've got women's issues because of the amount of combat that women have been seeing. We need housing, caregiver issues. The fact that parents and spouses are spending their life savings to help these guys who are getting their bodies blown apart. And educational funding that guarantees these men and women will have the opportunity to go on to get further education,
right,
to get them back in society.
The way I see it,
it's got to be updated.
There are about 2,200,000 active military right now, yeah, including the Guard and the reserves. The way I see it is low cost loans to buy houses, like my father got to buy my Levittown, Long Island house. Low cost loans to go to school. Sometimes the government picks that up entirely. Health benefits forever for family members and for the GIs. And basically saying, look, you put your lives on the line for us, and we're going to give you this, just like any corporation, you know, gives their greedy CEOs. The interesting thing about it is, I think the only opposition, as John Kerry pointed out, Congressman, will be in the money area because it will be expensive.
Bill, it will be expensive. You know, we can pay for anything if we have to. And you know, we can't come up with money when we have to. We're doing it on the stimulus program. We do it all the time. And if there's any cause that we should do it on, we do it for bridges and tunnels,
yeah,
the bridges that go nowhere. We should do it for these men and women. And, you know, I also believe something else. I believe in the long run it does pay for itself. I mean, I don't think you could put a dollar amount on what it meant to educate a whole generation of GIs after World War II. Not only did it help them, but what it did for the country.
Absolutely. That makes them more productive, and right, they're already shown that they're disciplined and patriotic. Colonel, do you think this will help recruiting? Do you think that, because we need to expand our armed forces since nobody else is helping us out, it's us against the jihadists almost alone. Do you think that people, if this passes, more people will sign up?
Yes, it absolutely will. And one of the things that will help, if they put in this bill the ability to streamline the system. It's not just the money part. It's how hard it is for family and veterans, wounded or otherwise,
cut the bureaucracy down,
get access at a system. It's stagnating, but absolutely it will help. Anytime we do a concerted effort and we ask for volunteers, the American people have stepped up, whether it's in or out of uniform.
All right.
All we've got to do is ask them, but this will absolutely
Good. I'm glad you think it's going to help recruitment. Now, Congressman King, I got to tell you one thing. You need to tell us if there's somebody blocking you or somebody not doing the right thing, because Colonel Hunt and I are going to their house. We're going to show up, and nobody wants that. Nobody wants. We saw what happened in New Hampshire.
You two will be the first to find out.
Okay. And we'll see you in a month. And Senator Kerry, we hope will be on the TV side at that time. And
thanks for doing this.
Sure. Listen, it's my privilege to do it.
Thanks for doing this, both of you. Thank you.
Plenty more ahead.